Hi, this is James of FluentGreekNT.com, the missing piece in New Testament Greek learning. What is the number one thing you need to successfully learn Greek? You might think I'm going to say the right course, but no, actually the most important thing is motivation. I wouldn't say this for all skills. For example, you might be extremely motivated to become an NBA star, but if you don't have the right genetic makeup, it's not going to happen. Learning languages is different. Humans inherently have the capacity to learn languages. Now, while I understand there are exceptions, for the purposes of this video, I'm going to assume that you're part of the 99.9% of people that can learn. And because you can learn Greek, motivation to learn becomes the most important thing. Britannica.com defines motivation as forces acting either on or within a person to initiate behavior. Dr. Pierce Steele, in his book The Procrastination Equation, has a formula for motivation. It's expectancy times value divided by delay and distraction. For the less math-inclined among you, that means that valuing a skill and expecting success increases your desire to act, your motivation, and delays and distractions decrease it. In the case of biblical Greek, then, motivation is a function of how valuable you believe knowing Greek to be, and whether or not you believe you can learn it in a reasonable amount of time. Of the various factors, let me first speak to value. 2 Timothy 3:16-17 says that all Scripture is breathed out by God and is profitable for teaching, for correction, for reproof, for training in righteousness, that the man of God may be complete, equipped for every good work. Because Scripture is God-breathed, it's impossible to overstate its value and the importance of studying it deeply. The New Testament comes to us in Greek, which means to read what was written, we have to be able to read Greek. Now, of course, we have many excellent English translations and commentaries, and thank God for them. But my conviction is that Christians have outsourced too much of our knowledge to others. Pastors and teachers must develop a profound knowledge of Scripture firsthand. Without knowing Greek, we don't know enough to evaluate the commentaries or see what's behind the translations. They may be right, they may be wrong, we might just be misunderstanding them. Without the tools, who can really say? Now let me speak to expectancy. The reason I created Fluent Greek is that so few students who try to learn Greek succeed, and I wanted to do something about it. Would you expect to succeed when only 5% of those who try do? That's not a scientific number, but I think it's pretty close. Students will take 3 semesters of Greek and still not be able to read much of the Greek New Testament with any confidence. Then there's other calls on their attention, whether in ministry or life or simply other classes, that motivation to learn Greek disappears. It wasn't always like this. In the 19th century and before, people seeking pastoral training began already able to read Greek. They learned it as children. Now most graduating seminarians serving as pastors can't read Greek with any confidence. And this is where things get tricky. See, learning Greek is no longer required in most cases. It's not normal. If you think back to the definition of motivation, there are forces acting within us and without us to drive us to learn Greek. Because of our cultural situation, those external forces have largely disappeared. And this has 2 implications. First of all, this means you've got to keep your internal motivation high on your own. And secondly, it means you've got to find a way to get external motivation. And let me tell you how to do that. What I suggest you do, if you're serious about learning to read the Greek New Testament, is to tell somebody. Tell your friends, tell your loved ones, tell your pastor, tell your professors, put it out there on social media that you're going to commit to studying the Greek New Testament for a year. Because you've made this external commitment, you'll have a drive to be faithful to your commitment. Now let me explain how Fluent Greek can help you keep your internal motivation high. The main reason students can't successfully learn Greek is they don't get enough reading practice to become fluent. And those who try to get that practice generally find reading the Greek New Testament too difficult. FluentGreek's core function is to provide students with the practice they need, with an emphasis on reducing difficulty wherever possible and removing delays. There's no fluff, just Greek readings aimed at your current level with helps for every word. This means that you can approach your study of Greek with confidence because every time you use the program, you'll be reading the Greek New Testament and moving that much closer to fluency. In my next video, I'll cover the second requirement to learn Greek, which is installing good study habits. If you can keep your motivation high, have good habits, and use fluent Greek, I'm confident you'll learn to be able to read the Greek New Testament. See you next time.